All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome back. CGL Season 16 continues here in week number 3 here. Our Sunday starts off with a matchup in the EU Diamond tier. We've got, bear with me, all my Dutch fans, I know how it's supposed to be pronounced. We're not going to pronounce it like that. We are way too American for that. It's Gelderus Gaius versus SCR Need Bastion Megalas. Are you ready to get this diamond matchup rolling?
Yeah, of course it's gonna be a fun one. Again, all the Dutch fans out there, shout out to y'all. That team is GG to me for the rest of the series. I'm not doing all that because I would butcher it. Fletch has got more confidence than me to go for it, but should be a fun one here
Oh,
between these
I
two
didn't pronounce it
squads.
right still.
Uh, I mean, hey, at least you have the confidence to go for it because I'm not even gambling on that. You are GG today, and you know what? You got it. Thumbs up to you.
Thumbs up to them. And speaking of GG, we've got our lineup here for the Matamata in silver on the DPS, on Ono Senpai on that tank, and Happy Yeehaw and Bum. I assume that's who's going to be in the back line. No supports on this roster, I guess. I guess nobody wants to do the healing. Supports are, not necessary, I guess, Mega.
Yeah, sometimes a little bit of healing doesn't ever need to happen. But on the other side of things, a team that does have some supports locked and loaded here is SCR. Need Bastion here. Interestingly enough, nobody's highlighting the Bastion, but you've got Few So Fast on tank, and then you have Mage and Nis. Nisty was what I'm going to go with. Fun fact for all the CGL heads out there, fill out your team sheets. Pretty please. And if you notice you don't have one, tell somebody before your stream, because that would be amazing. But as we keep going here, we have Bjorn and Aegis on the support line here. And yeah, it should be a very interesting game between these two squads down here in the Diamond Division. So meta isn't as hard blocked. You get to be a little bit more flexible about what you play. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, getting ready to head into our first map, which is always during the week going to be one of these control maps. This week it is Busan. Rush will be doable, but it's going to be interesting because we were talking about how good dive was last week, and to be honest with you, I do think it's still very viable. I don't think Wrecking Ball's nerf was or Hazard for that matter was as impactful as I initially thought it might be. um, I think Zarya still is one of the better tanks in the game right now, though. So I think that if I have to put my money somewhere, I think we're going to see one of those three coming out, especially because in a tier like Diamond, I think Zarya, that potential goes way up because people love shooting Zarya bubbles in Diamond, and I can attest to that as a Diamond Zarya player.
Okay, wait, you're in Diamond?
Yes.
Okay, that's how you know ranks are inflated right there. That's how you know there's a problem with the system. Um, but jokes aside, Zarya very very strong, like you were saying here. But potentially, if you're worried about the Zarya, you could ban it and take it off of the table here. For either of these squads, SCR and Need Bastion getting to go for the ban first here. It'll be interesting to see where they go. Like you talked about, a few different tank options you're seeing right now. The Zarya, the Wrecking Ball, Hazard, all kind of prominent as long as you got somebody who's prolific on those heroes. But once you look outside of the tank category, you have your hit scan menaces, Cassidy, and Sojourn. Support's always a popular band because people just love to hate supports, myself included. Really, I mean, again, because it's down here in Diamond, you can kind of go anywhere and get a little bit creative with it.
And if I'm being honest with you, I was about to say I think they are going to get creative, especially first map of a series. Right, you don't really know where to go, what your opponent is feeling. May is going to be the first ban here, so will be that out of pocket pick, right? Not really like super prevalent in the meta, but could be annoying, I suppose, if you want to run a rush comp or a poke comp, I guess, into somebody else's rush, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly can be something, especially with those rush comps. But regardless, it Mega is something that always can hinder a tank. Regardless if it's run being properly with Brawl, or say maybe you want to play some of the Diva, right? It's one of the few picks that can sort of shut down Diva, who is also secretly really strong right now. I know a lot of teams are struggling to play against that hero, but the Diva on the other side is just going to be completely banned out. So that may ban potentially going to waste here, as GG have simply said, no Diva on the field for us. Thank you very much. Which means if it's going to be Dive, it's either going to be Winston or that wrecking ball.
I mean, Diva is actually in a pretty decent spot right now, like in general. Um, so I wasn't really expecting to see a lot of Diva, but of course, GG is not me, right? So they may be, nervous about the Diva, I guess. Like it's really hard to justify a lot of early bans in a tier like Diamond where the meta is not as locked in, right? Because it's like these teams are just banning what they think that they might be scared of or they might be nervous to go into. So as we get ready to head in here, we will get to see. Um, okay, we're still in the waiting for players, phase, but I saw some silly shenaniganry going on in Busan. So gonna head in there very, very quickly. GG versus SCR need Bastion Busan on the way.
Yeah. And Busan, it's a very interesting control map of all of the control maps, purely because, each of the different sub points can sort of benefit itself to a different composition. For example, starting out here on downtown, dive comps normally end up being the name of the game, but as you get over to Mecha Base, Rush becomes more prolific. And then over on Sanctuary, Poke comps ended up sort of being what people like to run here. So it is interesting, of course, to see what teams are opting for. No dive really on either side, at least hovered in the spawn room right now. There's plenty of time to swap that up, of course. But currently, hovering the Roadhog is Ono Senpai. Um, Honestly, I'm here for it. I'm a big fan of Roadhog, and hey, when they give a giant guy like that the ability to crit for 2x damage for some reason, it's fun. But it seems as though that won't be the case. We're actually just going to be taking the EU Classic Brawl v Brawl approach here. The only outlier really being SCR having that Widowmaker in play as well to potentially cut people off if they're a little too isolated and a little too open.
All right, here we go. Busan in progress here as GT has taken the logo and trying TP onto this Widowmaker, and Ono Senpai will be able to get rid of Futos, but will not be able to survive the engagement. SCR has firmly taken their positioning here as the map has flipped. The point will belong to SCR need Bastion here eventually. Silver does get one with a fadeaway shot there on to Mage, but they're still waiting for their tank to return. Well, hang on. Silver has just decided that this fight was going to be a win for GG. Absolutely ridiculous that was for the Sojourn.
And I mean, hey, listen, that's sometimes the power that you can bring to these fights. SCR getting the first cap, but GG able to take away that first fight win. So now heading into the next one, no ultimates you have to worry about for either side just yet here. It's just going to be sort of a tempo game. And you're seeing this Reinhardt already posture forward here, not really going to let the Zarya get too much traction or too much space for free, as you're going to have to contest the big man with the shield.
Coming around the far side of the map, Fire Strike's out. Pin will not connect. Oh no, Senpai has to play a little safer, but Happy Yeehaw comes in, gets the pick onto Mage. Oh no, Senpai does go down, but there are already two players out of this fight, both DPS for SCR need Bastion, and seems like they are going to respect that fact. They're going to back off here and, going to re-engage quickly as their DPS return from spawn, the teleporter to get Ono Senpai back in. Do they get the flip? The answer is no. They do drop the Graviton Surge wall there to try and take care of that grab, but it will be some excellent follow-up on that Graviton Surge by the players who were not Nistipata. Great ults, though.
Yeah, phenomenal graviton surge there. You try to use the sim barrier to mitigate some of its impact, but unfortunately, just a little too late in that situation here. So now GG heading into this. Once they force out the Zarya bubbles, probably going to be looking to deliver this Earth Shatter onto the group for at least as many members as they can find of it realistically. But then again, I mean, if those bubbles aren't forced, then DC should be able to just live this one, put a bubble in the right place, and potentially block the entire shatter.
Teleporter over to the other side of the objective. We're going to see Ono Senpai drop down, has the Earth Shatter, sees the bubble, going to drop the Earth Shatter down. That is 3 players on their backs. 1 is down. Nisi will be able to get rid of Ono Senpai. That's kind of been a trend in this map so far as Nisi goes down. Even losing Ono Senpai, they are just fine.
A-okay for for the moment here. Again, that shatter, it looked a little dicey for a second. 3 people down, but only 1 kill coming through right away here. But thankfully, the follow-up was there after the fact. Now, there's a plethora of ultimates for SCR here, but they do have a sound barrier on the other side that's already being expended.
Yep. They will be able to weather this, it seems. They need it to survive that engagement, and it looks like all 5 players will survive that sound barrier engagement. Now they're getting ready to head in here with 4 of their own. Only the overclock ready to go for the side of GG. We're going to see the overclock and the Dragon Blade and the Kitsune Rush in from the side of SCR. Mara Mara gets rid of Mage, mitigating the value of that overclock. You can see the Genji here trying to take care of Mara Mara, but few will try to run away and will do so as SCR, they only need 1 more fight.
Yeah, 1 more fight here. The ultimate situation looking very interesting, right? We have SCR with another Graviton Surge online, as well as a sound barrier to sustain through some of the stuff that GG is going to be coming at them with, including the Tidal Blast and the Overclock here. It's going to be very important that they live here, but they also are going to have to keep somebody on the objective the entire time.
All right, here we go. Sound barrier down for the Overclock there from Silver. Graviton Surge has entered the fray. We're going to see nobody touches. I see the Reinhardt going to the Graviton Surge. I'm like, are we playing goats? Is this the slow mode? But no, it is going to be a map win there for SCR. Gonna head into the Mega base now. I doubt we see anything different though. This is the rush heavy map out of the 3.
Yeah, this is, I would say, if you're going to force rush on the dive map, then you're probably just going to keep rush the whole way through, which, hey, at the end of the day, what the teams are comfortable on is going to be prevalent here. Very interesting, very close round, of course, but SCR being able to squeak it out despite, on paper, Reinhardt really can do a number to Zarya, right? You control the hammer swings, that way you're not charging the bubbles, and then once those bubbles are wasted, the Reinhardt can really go to town, but seems as though SCR, they know how to play against it and can definitely make these fights a lot closer.
All right, Mega Base coming up here. Ono Senpai trying to look for the opportunity, but under so much pressure by this Freya of Mage, that shield. Okay, that is tough, but Mage saving the life of, I believe that was Fuso Fast in the arms of Ono Senpai. Gets failed out there as Mage just continues to absolutely rampage on these players. It'll be SCR taking the first flip.
Taking the first flip here indeed. And so now, again, SCR in control. This Freya Bolo has already been charged up here, so it can be thrown out whenever. But doesn't really need to happen as Zarya's already found the pay.
There is a trade though, so Aegis is out of this fight as well. Bolas may be coming in as the pressure on the point commences here. Bola shots out will help to deal a lot of damage to this Reinhardt and Fuso Fast dashes straight through the funny German Hammerman. Fuso Fast does go down, but this fight is over for GG.
Yeah, it is over. GG has to be sent back to the spawn room after that one. They do have some tools coming into the next one. This title Blast coming in here on the next fight from the Wuye, of course, going to be able to deliver that onto pretty much anybody But they are going to have to contest the Graviton Surge that Nasty has built up here, especially with how tight these corridors are. If you're just all going to walk into it right now.
All right, Graviton Surge, here we go. Dash through from the side of Fuso Fast, and it will be the Reinhardt returning to try and help with that shield into that grab, but not quite enough as, I mean, SCR has come out absolutely swinging here on this map. Never a chance for GG.
Never a chance, at least in that
Not
fight here.
yet.
I mean, as they go through the teleporter, kind of all getting run down. They are going to come up on all 5 ultimates in this next fight, though, and already being in it, they're just ready to go.
Well, teleporter's out. They could get rid of you so fast here. The cleanse comes through, going to keep their Genji alive. The wall does come through by Mata, and we're going to see the Dragon Blade answered by the sound barrier and that tidal surge. Fuso Fast will fall. We're going to hear those bullet shots come out, as well as the Earth Shatter, everything coming out in this final fight. And finally, GG does find their opportunity. The most expensive fight I've seen in a very long time. It looked like 9 ultimates, and it will be GG coming out on top of it.
Exactly. Everybody ends up investing everything into that one. And it's a little bit unfortunate to say the least, right? So now, looking forward, SCR to get back in control here, probably just going to have to wait to build up the Graviton Surge unless they can find some sort of pick, but it seems like that's not going to be the case, and Silver is delivering.
Continuing to just dominate on the Sojourn so far. Finally given the space to work. More than happy to take it. And now it's just a matter of getting Nisty this charge up. It's a little bit slower here as they try to re-engage. We're going to see Nisty finally 50 charge, has another bubble, going to be looking for it, you know it. Not going to pop that bubble just yet, waiting for the other one to come online. Will finally try and go out. Graviton Surge invested, but Nisty will fall. Few will meet the same fate. Mata this time the one to take over the map, and they have firmly found their opportunity.
Yeah, and so now try again, being able to sort of bounce back here as well as survive this wave of ultimates, including that Graviton. So now you're going to be at another wave of ultimates here for GG. They're going in.
And there, it's the tidal surge, and I mean, unfortunately, Happy Yeehaw does make it so that Ono Senpai can't claim that pin kill, and that may have put the whole fight in jeopardy and the whole map in general, as absolutely raining hell from above is a mage. And unfortunately, what Happy Yeehaw thought was a good boot to save someone's life cost them the map.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate, right? You almost had it completely in the palm of your hand to send that to a round 3, and it's just gone, just like that. Again, another 99 to 100 round here, but at the end of the day, SCR able to clean it up and get it done when it matters here. Beautiful bolo here from Mage. She was really putting in the work on this one. But yeah, I mean, just not enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when you're feeding Zarya charge like that, right? Even with the Reinhardt, it doesn't seem like GG was too concerned with conserving those swings when those bubbles were popped, unfortunately. Even though Nisty was kind of being, you know, a more selfish Zarya, which generally speaking, like in a perfect world, and we're far from that in the diamond tier, right? In like the highest tiers, you want to be as selfless as you can on Zarya, throwing your bubbles out to enable your teammates to do the most that they can while getting you the most value out of that bubble, right? Because it's hard to predict, or you know, what the bubble might go on to as far as teammates, right? Whereas when you're popping the bubble on yourself as Zarya, your opponents are waiting for that to happen more times than they're not. And even then, with that more predictable gameplay from Nissi, they're still getting up to 75 to 100 charge off of both their bubbles, right? So they're not scared to pop those bubbles themselves because they know that their opponents are just going to give them the charge that they need.
Yeah, and I'm again, like the best way to put it is sort of just a hesitation thing from GG, because they're already handing over the charge, right? It's one thing to say, oh, just don't shoot the bubbles, but once that Zarya has high charge, she needs to become priority target number one. And realistically, you have one of the best ways to deal with it, right? Reinhardt puts a shield in her face. Reinhardt, Zarya being even a high charge takes a few seconds to chunk through that shield. And in that meantime, the Zarya has burned bubbles because she's high charge already. You need to have that focus fire, that priority to take the Zarya out of the fight. And it seems like that's currently missing from GG, where they're willing to charge her up, but then just sort of leave Nista on the field with all of that charge. So, something that you definitely have to look at in terms of target priority heading forward in the series here. But I mean, at the end of the day, if we're going to stick on these rush comps as well, it again on paper it should be favoring GG with this Reinhardt style as long as they can get their target priority in order. But so far, SCR have been, maybe by the skin of their teeth, but they've been coming out ahead.
I mean, I think it is worth saying that SCR did swap to Reinhardt near the end of that map. Something I really barely noticed because we were watching Mage dominate on the Freya there. So they are willing to swap it up if they think the Zarya isn't working, which it did seem like it was getting a little bit harder there on the mecha base. But we do have our map here for map number 2, and is anybody ever surprised by a King's Row selection here, Mega? It doesn't seem like GG wants to change anything from their gameplay. And to be honest with you, I agree with you. I think they do have the right idea with that Reinhardt into the Zarya. But my question is now SCR. We saw them kind of dip their toe into playing the Reinhardt. They didn't have much time to play with it right near the end of the map. But do they come back out on the Reinhardt? I think is the big question here on Kings Row.
I mean, it's King's Row. It's like it's one of the things of it's more than expected. To be fair, there have been a lot of teams recently over the past, I'd say, like year or so, that have been more prioritizing the high grounds here. But with that symmetric teleporter strategy, we saw GG coming out with, it could potentially be like their answer to taking control of high grounds, using those symmetric teleporters to get people around the map. But there are other tank options. Of course, you could patrol the high grounds, especially now that the Diva ban has already come through. GG can't ban that one again in any way, shape, or form. So as we're looking at the bans here, GG, I'd be surprised to see who they actually end up banning, depending on what they think.
Just a few more seconds, and we will get to see what they are thinking. It's going to be the Zarya. So, Mega, I can't help but think I'm probably just right on the money, right? Without Zarya in the game, I think that this whole, the dichotomy of do they commit to the Zarya or do they play the Reinhardt on Kings Row, it goes completely out of the window. It goes completely out the window. So with that ban coming through, it's all but guaranteed that we see a Reinhardt mirror at this point.
I mean, hey, you never know. Potentially, SCR could be a diva team that
Make it
just
cute,
simply.
I
I would say
guess.
they could have had it locked away, and banning Zarya here just something they don't want to deal with. The Symmetra ban, this is exactly what I expected because this is gonna force the style of GG, right? If they want to continue playing the Reinhardt, they're gonna be stuck to the low grounds or taking very long rotations where they're having to burn resources like those Lucio speed amps just to get around the map. And that's obviously going to take more time, burn time off the clock, doing whatever they need to do. Uh, so Symmetra ban, I think, is right on the money for what SCR needs right now. Uh, the question again just becomes what SCR are going to try to lean in towards playing now that the Zarya is not on the table. Are they actually going to try to stick with the Ryan Mirror? Are they going to try to play something like an Orisa that can in theory, counter out the Reinhardt, or are they a D.Va team that just didn't have access to D.Va map one?
Well, all will be answered here momentarily as we get ready to head into Kings Row. No Zarya, no Symmetra, so the game will be different for sure. Two mainstays gone from the first map. And this is kind of a silly little Overwatch is a silly little game because y'all can't see it, but the like a waiting for players mode, I hate that. I hate
Okay,
that.
well, so here's the lore, because I've always wondered about that. Whenever a game is waiting for players for a custom game, if it has not started yet, if the lobby's full and it should have theoretically started, the issue is simply somebody's PC or internet is not connecting. So somebody in this lobby has bad internet. Couldn't tell you who, but it's somebody.
Hey Lottie,
Uh,
get on that.
but
Lottie,
yeah,
ask the players whose PC is bad.
that's hey, listen, sometimes you got to play off of the old 1070 Ti and try to make it work in this day and age. We'll have to see. I'm gonna be so real. I'm becoming a GG hater and wanting to be biased purely for Mata Mata, picking Junkrat and spamming that voice line. So far, it's only been 2 rounds that it's happened, but it's driving me feral and I want to punch something. Regardless, it seems as though, Fletch, you had it right on the money. We are going to be opting into the Ryan mirror for both of these squads here. And now with the Mei back in tow for the Ryan as well, it's going to be very interesting to see, seeing as GG will have that extra help in their side.
All right, here we go. Silver, not quite going to connect. I assume that that'll be a swap to Sojourn. Yep. As the spam will come through. GG trying to rotate through the hotel, and that is almost certainly a dead Hammerman. Nisi will go down. A nice little headshot there from Mata. Oh my goodness. 3 kills for the Mei, and I mean, just a dominant fight win here for GG.
Yeah, dominant fight win, so they're able to get point A in a relatively quick fashion here. Now being forced to sit back and regroup. Mage is going to swap off of the Ashe, no longer want to play the super long range, instead be a little more in the fight with the Cassidy here. And again, though, when you have this Mei that GG is running currently, it's going to just sort of make you that much more powerful in the Rhine duel, right? Being able to isolate targets and allow your Hammerman to get those pins and swings in, it's really going to be a massive difference maker.
Nisi just trying to build up this Earth Shatter as much as possible, just spamming the fire strikes as they come. Playing this corner, which is not incorrect, especially as now both Mata Mata and Ono Senpai are dead. Corner play works, play the map geometry, could not find anything there for GG, and it will be SCR coming out on top of that one. 5 minutes on the clock, though.
5 minutes on the clock. Plenty of time still left here for this attack. Currently, you're seeing ultimates start to come online. I'm probably going to be looking towards these Earth Shatters. Nisti holding about a 10% advantage over Oh No for right now. That obviously can be changed with a Fire Strike, but actually we're starting off with Tidal Blast.
Tidal Blast comes out, and Nishi gets knocked down by said Tidal Blast, and so that Earth Shatter goes awry, and an even better Blizzard comes through. Nice little shots there from Mage to put Silver down. Bum comes in for the assist, takes down the Cassidy there, and it will be GG back on the move.
Getting it moving here, and GG ultimately, I mean, that was just the Blizzard and the Tidal Blast that ends up coming out here, so, and they're able to trade it for the Earth Shatter. So SCR has everything besides that Earth Shatter online here, but it's going to be very important for Nisi to keep this shield up, as Ono is going to be looking for that little opportunity, that little window to let it rip on the ground.
These Reinhardts swinging at each other as much as humanly possible. There's the wall, there's the death, here's the Earth Shatter. May not even need it, will not need it. Mage, unfortunately, just way too far in the back line for that Deadeye to find any value, and GG absolutely asserting their dominance here on this Reinhardt competition.
I mean, yeah, and like you said, that was a very interesting setup for SCR, where they wanted to try to play the corner as best they could to get Mage in a position on that Cassidy. Ultimately, ends up not working out here. But now the swap over to the Orisa. Plus side, you're gonna have more survivability in the tank 1v1. But now Oh No doesn't have a shield to stop this Earth Shatter from connecting with everybody on the ground.
Yet. Doesn't have a shield yet. The Freya also coming back out. We saw Mage dominate on the Freya here. We're going to see the Earth Shatter come down. Going to knock down 3. Nothing to answer. The Dragon Blade is out, but the Sound Barrier came out to keep Feud so fast away. And I mean, they just keep rolling here, Mega. They're going to be lucky if SCR gets another touch as Nisi goes over the ball.
Yeah, the Wrecking Ball needed for the touch here. The Tidal Blast currently being given to the Sojourn, but as the fight starts, it's already looking bad.
Yeah, we see Aegis go down, but Happy Yeehaw is out as well. This overclock from Silver not really finding the value that they would like to have. A few so fast dashes through, and it will be a beautiful comeback there. Just barely going to get that one done for SCR.
I think few living up to the namesake there, possibly just wiping the sweat off the brow after an insane little clutch from the Genji. All those dash resets coming up massively here. Easty now kind of has to stay on the Wrecking Ball. No time to swap as the next fight already looming here. But if GG can make it to the cart with this Blizzard that Mata has, it's just going to be over. They're going to be able to freeze up anybody who tries to touch.
Yeah, and Nisi just finding the roll through, finding the slam, throwing it on to the Sojourn, and Silver will be the first casualty here in this fight. Nisi still looking for more of that pin gonna come through, and you see that Reinhardt, Oh No Senpai wants to live. The slam will come through. It's gonna only hit the shield. They want to get these staggers. They will get the Reinhardt sent back to spawn, and now it's SCR looking very, very comfortable.
Yeah, they're definitely playing this ball comp a lot better than I expected them to, considering how quickly they had to switch to it. Being able to not just slam in, but having the follow-up from some of these Freya crossbow bolts is absolutely massive right now, and getting these early limbs, and now with a minefield already ready to go, it could be devastating.
Yep. And gonna drop that minefield, but Oh No Senpai just absolutely peppered there by Nisi and Few, and I mean, the momentum has just completely shifted here, 180 over to SCR.
Yeah, I mean, SCR, they seem to have found something that's going to work for them. This payload has moved back a considerable distance so far. GG still holding onto that Blizzard and has some other tools to work with, as like the Earth Shatter and Tidal Blast right now. So we are trying to get some space here. Now that they're on the cart, hopefully they can use some of these tools to try to help progress right now, because otherwise they're just holding for nothing.
Well, here's the Dragon Blade from Few so fast, answered by the Sound Barrier of Happy Yeehaw. You're going to see the Earth Shatter come down. It will only claim Nisi, who will be just fine. Has the Adaptive Shield's going to roll back all the way through the front side of the point. You're going to see the Blizzard come down right at the front of the point. Ant Matrix is down. Nisi not too scared of being frozen, but will get frozen up. Few so fast coming in again. Needs to be the clutch player. Overclock down, and Nisi will fall. Few so fast could only get the one, but down from a 5-minute time bank there for GG. SCR knocks it down to 101.
Able to knock a lot of time off that bank, like you said here, but again, it's one of those things that's very interesting to see how great SCR were at handling the Reinhardt composition on Busan. But then again, you think back to how close both of those rounds were, 99 to 100 each time here. And so potentially realizing that they aren't fully prepared for everything that's coming out. And I mean, realistically, this series is only going to get more difficult as we progress to later maps, right? You're starting to run through bans. You've already banned the Mei and the Symmetra. Next obviously would end up being the Reinhardt if you don't want to opt into it, but that'll be a future problem, I'm sure. Looking into this right now, in the attacker spawn on a very interesting comp, a very divey sort of look for SCR here. I do worry if you're going to end up running the Zenyatta that GG's just going to find Bjorn every single time and run them down. I mean, it's Zen, right? Everybody else is going to be able to dive and move around as pleased, but our favorite Omnic can only float so fast.
Oh, but he can kick them. Lottie, get your mind out of the gutter. My God. All right, Mage up. Mage up, looking for the shot, being a little bit more patient. There's nobody there. It's okay, Mage. You can back down. Oh, okay. Sees a Lucio. Okay, actually going to fully invest in the Widowmaker here. Do they expect this? Well, oh no, Senpai just that's not good.
Over.
That's not good.
Yeah. Listen, the Reinhardt falls over sometimes, and it'll just be cleanup as there's already people on the point here. The Genji's still in.
Oh no. Oh well, oh no, Senpai is actually back, so they're going to be able to get a touch here more than likely as they come around the corner. Okay, there it goes. Oh no, Senpai does finally enter the fray one more time at 99.9%, but I mean, Bjorn justifying the Zenyatta pick right now with that Discord orb. Just absolute living hell for Ono Senpai right now.
Absolutely. Hell is one way to describe it here. The Winston, a little bit greedy trying to get that Sojourn kill, is going to be punished up for it as Silver manages to escape with their lives. But looking forward now, the payload is going to start moving through that pivotal first checkpoint, or choke point rather. That's always difficult. Mage currently trying to see about peeking into some enemy fire here, but low HP is going to stop that one. And just overall, it's a very interesting approach here with how this dive is playing because it's very measured and then it just goes very quick execution.
Oh, Bum barely able to survive there at it's the worst nightmare there for few as we're gonna see the Infrasight come in from Mage. A Discord Orb still putting Ono Senpai in a very bad spot. Mage. The backline Widowmaker is certainly an option as the players start to just fall over here for SCR. They'll have to back off and regroup.
Getting a full regroup going. A lot of ultimates for both squads here. Really, the only thing missing is going to be Mage's overclock. Everything else ready to go. And that's going to be massive, right? I mean, probably going to be looking towards these tank ultimates first. As going to be the big difference makers here. The Shatter and Primal Rage both can be devastating at disrupting, or at the very least stopping the push.
Well, it's going to be hard for Nisi to, block that ultimate, and it will not even have to be able to come out there. Silver does get rid of Few with that disruptor shot, and it's still trades here. So this is still very much a turnable fight here for GG. They need to have these players live just a little bit longer as Bum and Mata are in this pub area trying to take care of the Winston. Nisi jumps up onto the Mei, who will immediately go into the ice block, but the trades were able to allow for this Reinhardt to come back into the fight. Silver again with the disruptor shot, 2 fights in a row, getting rid of you so fast with that ability, and now this fight has kind of boiled over. Earthshatter still ready to go, overclock, ready to rip Earthshatter down, land on Anisi. Bjorn will pop the Transcendence to keep their Winston alive. Transcendence comes to an end here as we see the Kitsune Rush coming down from Aegis. Pin will not connect, but Mage's rail shot will. He was so fast, able to clean up that Reinhardt there. The jump comes through on it to the Sojourn as they try to, take as much time off the clock as possible. But what an insane little engagement that was.
Yeah, it was just kind of constant fighting for about 2 minutes straight there, but finally it seems as though it's not over yet. Actually, they're going to try to contest this at the very end using the Tidal Blast. Very interesting approach from GG. I understand wanting to hold this, but you don't have the reinforcements just yet.
Yeah, I mean, the Tidal Blast will not even connect with a player, as we're going to see the Transcendence come down. Fuso fast, throwing it back in the face of Silver there. As Bjorn comes around the corner, finds one of those orbs right into the skull of Silver. 0.01 meters. Actually, that touch just got justified by Mage investing that overclock.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if that overclock doesn't come through, then GG really was just sort of investing and touching for no reason. But that being able to at least force an ult out, it makes you feel a little bit better about the situation. But now, looking forward into this next fight, right? You with another blade ready to go, but the sound barrier is still online. Happy has been pretty good at building those up in time to counter out, but meanwhile, Vela has kind of been moving uncontested until now.
All right, coming around that second corner here, the final corner. We're going to see the Earth Shatter come down, will land onto two. Transcendence will not be available to come out. Nisi going to try and grab the Mega Health Stack. Maybe it would be better if they just went down and Will and Sakiri for Aegis. Kind of in an awkward spot. Yeah, it's tough. What?
Why are we using Kitsune Rush? Why are we using Kitsune Rush? That shouldn't happen. What are we doing? What are we doing, SCR? That's going to be an ultimate you really wish you could have back, as now GG have the ult advantage, the Blizzard, as well as both support ultimates ready to go. And they're playing up here. Misclick? No, that was the most intentional Kitsune Rush I've ever seen in my life. Don't lie to the people, Aegis.
All right, well, now it's getting a little bit closer here, and the difference is that GG, they have over a minute here. We're going to see the Transcendence come out to answer that Blizzard. A minute 24 on the clock for SCR, and even if they do complete this map, they need to have at least a little bit of time. They're not going to do it here, though.
Yeah, no, it does not seem like the case here. Now again, the chase is going to the spawn room here, and they're still GG is still getting kills. Now built up with another Earth Shatter as well as a Tidal Blast still in the back pocket for GG, whereas SCR have kind of emptied out the bank, and now with some swaps as well. Their only solace is going to be having Mage get closer and closer to that overclock, but realistically, firing that into a shield is not going to net too many positive results.
Well, there is the Mage pick on it to Silver, as Matamata looks to try and take care of Sage. Ice Block will not come out, as the push will once again commence. 30 seconds on the clock. This is going to be really, really tight, Mega.
Very, very close here. They have to see if they can finish with time in the bank. It's looking unlikely, but they were able to force out a lot of those two key ultimates. So now all they have to worry about is Silver's overclock here. But if they can play this out long enough, get enough time delayed, they can have the Kitsune Rush themselves.
Okay. Oh no, Senpai goes down, but there's only 3 seconds on the clock. Overclock in, and overtime begins, and now the map unwinnable for SCR, but they will be playing for the draw here now. They get the map done in the end, but now they just need to make sure that GG cannot win.
I mean, yeah, GG has a minute now to get 33.3%. A minute and 1 second if you want to get technical, but 1 second, I mean, hey, listen, it can be the difference maker sometimes. So, you know, as much as I was just about to say, who cares about 1 second, it can be that difference maker here. SCR, I'm interested to see what they run out for this defense, seeing as they know they only have a minute. We saw them pilot quite a few different comps throughout Kings Row, obviously starting on that Reinhardt mirror. Then when it comes to their attack, a more dive approach here. But SCR on the defense, they're fully committed to sort of bunkering down, it seems, with the Ramatra May Bastion here to try to potentially punish this Reinhardt comp, knowing they don't have any teleporters or anything like that, as well as a Mercy in tow, not only to provide the damage boost, but if somebody goes down, try to get that resurrect in the fight to keep those players alive. Because again, 1 minute, it should only be about 2 fights realistically at the most here that GG are going to get to try to crack this point open.
All right. Here we go, playing for a draw here. SCR GG wants to even the series up here. I do like this comp for SCR, something quite different from what they have been playing throughout the rest of this series. Matamata throws up the wall. They're going to rotate through this hotel. We're going to see the wheels form as well as the nemesis form there. And oh no, Senpai and Happy Yeehaw are incredibly unhealthy at the moment, as the rest of these players will just decide to run off without their Lucio.
Yeah, just get back. Don't even try to fight it. You're going to get staggered out. But there goes one of your two fights. So now already 20 seconds on the clock here. You have that Lucio back. You've got to find your way in here on this point. But now SCR, they have the positioning needed, knowing exactly what they're up against.
Yep, wheels form comes out. Mata stuck in the cubby there with that mini health pack. Pin gonna come through. Unfortunately, that is onto a bastion. It will not kill, especially with that immortality field. We're gonna see the annihilation come down, but a travesty indeed, as the annihilation comes at the cost of a blizzard there. Not what you want to see if you are SCR, and it will be GG able to get through in the second fight. Take map number 2, move us to 1-1.
I mean, hey, full props to Mata there, being able to build that blizzard in time, because realistically, that annihilation was about to kill 3 people if that Ramattra was not frozen up and held in place by it. So absolutely massive. Some good icicle right clicks, probably helping to build that blizzard incredibly quickly there, and make sure it was online for that pivotal fight here. And again, now we're tied up 1 apiece in this series already. Very interested to see how we're going to continue at this pace, because it seems like both sides have realized that Brawl is just going to be the way that this has to be.
I mean, it's going to have to be that way indeed. I mean, it doesn't really seem like there's been a lot of success from any other compositions, but that is a question to answer for the future. In the meantime, both these teams will get a few minutes of a break, get to talk about, where SCR wants to take us and what these teams are looking to ban. So when we come back from this break, we will see which of these teams going to take a lead in this series. All right, welcome back, everybody. 1-1 is a scoreline after two. GG comes back on Kings Row to take that one in overtime, 4-3, as we get a look at where SCR has decided to take us for map number 3. It's going to be New Queen Street, and I've got to be honest with you, Mega. I have not seen a lot of push recently, with it, sharing the map pool with Flashpoint.
Yeah, uh, it's been interesting to say the least. That would be the way that we can put it. Is interesting, but so far, like you said, it actually I cannot actually think of the last time I've seen New Queen Street. I've seen the other maps come up like Esperanza and stuff like that, but New Queen Street, certainly one that has sort of fallen by the wayside, but an interesting pick nonetheless here. Lots of high ground potential to be taken advantage of, so maybe SCR maybe wanted to try to punish the Reinhardt a little bit, or at the very least force that Symmetra to come back out if you're going to be moving the Reinhardt around the map.
Well, that is depending on if they have a Reinhardt as SCR begins their ban phase. I mean, a very, very real chance that Reinhardt is no longer in rotation for New Queen Street here. It's something that we kind of talked about a little earlier. I think that would be the major player that I'm looking for SCR's bans. I don't think they want to ban the Lucio. They could ban the Wu Young. I feel like that's not the worst thing in the world, but if I'm not insane, okay. Well, it will be the Wu Young this time here for SCR. They want to get rid of that long range poke damage and what is a very very annoying ultimate here in this game to deal
Mhm.
with as like a support in the back line. Getting knocked down by that title surge is absolutely brutal.
Yeah, absolutely. Brutal. That's just the way I would put it. Yeah, I've been trying to find a way to rephrase it, but you hit the nail on the head here. So now GG gets their pick of the bands here, and with Wu Yang missing, I'll be interested to see exactly what GG want to cook up here. If I'm thinking potentially banning out the Winston, but no, it's actually going to be the Genji. That makes a lot more sense. Few was definitely being a thorn in their side on Kings Row, so just GD deciding not wanting to deal with that here on New Queen Street. Completely valid and smart strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I like these bands. I really, really do. I think they're both very impactful against the teams that they are playing against. Now, the question is, I can't imagine we see something, super duper different. I'm sure that GG just picks up a bat or not a Bastion, but a the Lucio again, right? Uh, just the more traditional backline support there. As we see the swaps in here for it's going to be SCR, Twix and Ornate Circle coming in to the lineup here for New Queen Street. So we'll get to see at least something maybe a little bit new for this roster. So this will be a very, very interesting map overall, especially because, yeah, like you said, NQS is not a map that we get to see very often at all. So potentially just an ace in the hole, one that they practice here a lot for SCR.
Yeah. Uh, Listen, having little ace in the hole trinket maps like that, I mean, it's something I always encourage teams to do just because, obviously you're going to have to play your standard maps, your Kings Row, your Li Zhangs, but throwing somebody off by, switching it up and taking it somewhere completely different is completely valid and seen here. And it, at least in the spawn room here, it seems like it is forcing some switch ups for both of these squads. SCR currently back on the ball. Nisty showed a little bit of this on the last map here. Especially, it was in an overtime situation where we're kind of having to scramble to get out in time, but the ball looked incredibly good here. So now with some proper follow up, from the Tracer could be really, really devastating. Meanwhile, GG, they love to bait. It's back on the Reinhardt. This is their bread and butter. They're keeping this Rein around and doing what it does best, which is be a Reinhardt.
All right, Nisi gonna go around looking for the boot, but not quite gonna get that one off the map there. Mata and the gang rotating around the backside of this map, looking for their opportunity. The teleporter on the horizon, I can imagine here very, very soon, as SCR takes an early 6.5 meter lead. Now going back the way of GG, teleporter through. Gonna look for these blue players, and will be able to take down both of the supports here for SCR. Immortality Field is out. Nisi able to just barely get away there, but now it will be GG's turn to start pushing the bot.
Yeah, and GG, I mean, realistically, yes, you have the Symmetra to teleport around, but against this ball comp, this is sort of, unfortunately, what you need to do. Everybody sort of hunker together around the objective and force the ball to come to you, right? Because obviously there is that fear of the ball tracer trying to find an isolated target like they just did onto Bum. But if you can isolate the ball and bring the ball to you, that's where the damage can really start to develop.
All right, well, Bum out of this fight. We're going to see the burrow there from Mage, but Silver is actually able to get the trade there, as Mata on the high ground starts trying to spam. Mata drops down, throws down those turrets as kind of a gateway. The bot begins going the other way now, as you know that GG does not want to allow that to happen. Roll through coming again from Nisi, as the you see Ornate Circle trying to find those flip-flops to the throat. Will end up going down, but luckily it was not more than that. Bjorn eventually does go down. Need to look for Bum. Will be able to find that Baptiste. Now the Lucio on the menu. Very close to taking this first objective here for GG. Twix able to avoid the pin. Unfortunate for Mage, no way to get back into the dirt. And it will be just barely able to survive that. And well, oh no, Senpai does end up going down. So this will be a full disengage if GG knows what's good for him.
Yeah, not wanting to play without your Reinhardt, completely valid here, and the bot already moved out of control of this small room here. I feel as though GG may be a little bit too focused on controlling that small room, but hey, at the end of the day, you did get 50 meters out of it, so keep it rolling. Both sides have quite a few ultimates built up here. You're probably going to be looking to deliver an Earth Shatter somewhere in this fight.
Alright, well, Tectonic Shock will not be delivered in this fight, as Mage is turned to a goop by the hammer of, oh no, Senpai. Bum able to find a headshot after switching over to that Kiriko. Good little pick there as well, but the bot will be in control of GG. Twix trying to keep a little bit longer control of it, but ended up will be going to GG.
Yeah, and so now GG back in control here, trying to lock down the forward spawns. They do have the minefield dropped on their heads here, but the sound barrier keeps everyone healthy.
Sound barrier down. You know, the Reinhardt shield could also break a lot of these. There's still a lot of mines left to deal with, even with the sound barrier. And oh no, Senpai is alone in... But do they know that? You would think if they knew that, they would have converged on this Reinhardt. Now Happy Yeehaw able to go down, and barely saved by the pylons there is Mage, who's gone over to the Cassidy here. And it will be SCR taking control of this objective once more.
Yeah, and so now with control of the objective going SCR's way, or GG's. No, I was right. I'm losing my mind. It's fine. GG has been holding some of these ultimates for a very long time, is the point that I'm trying to make. They're just simply trying to look for too much value. At the end of the day, a solo shatter is completely valid if it can isolate one target and actually remove them from the fight, as long as the follow-up is there for it.
Alright, well, recalls out. Pulse Bomb claims no one. Twix got microwaved in that small room, and Mage trying to face tank a Kitsune Rush. Will be able to live as the rally. Raid Boss comes out and Mage with the Deadeye. The investments come through. It was expensive, but SCR know that they don't need that big value, right? They get the value where they can find it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it looks expensive on paper, but invest the ultimates. You have them. Like, GG, again, they've been holding some of these ultimates for so long. I mean, Oh No Senpai has had this shatter for the better part of 4 minutes now, trying to find value with it somewhere. I mean, just take the Wrecking Ball out for half of a second by laying it down on top of that. But now GG are trying to recontest here to keep their lead.
Well, here is the minefield. Some of those will get broken by the photon barrier there. And now looking towards Mata, but too much damage, 5 meters separated SCR from a lead there, but they will lose out just in the nick of time for GG.
Yeah, and so now GG are back in control of the bot, moving it up, trying to get towards that forward checkpoint. They do have the overclock to work with. Meanwhile, SCR has completely tapped the bank with that minefield. Nobody's close to anything on the line right now. So it's just about trying to live this overclock as best they can.
Need to take care of these final blows, and Silver actually able to get rid of Twix there. Could not go down there on that venture. Silver low HP. They will finally find this objective, 57 meters now. As we wait for re-engagement here from SCR, but it doesn't seem like GG wants to let them re-engage. They do lose out on Oh No Senpai as a result, and so it will be the bot going back the way of SCR here as they try to find these late picks.
Yeah, they were able to secure forward spawn, so SCR is gonna, or GG is gonna be able to recontest this rather quickly. Still having that overclock in the back pocket, with the sound barrier as well, but already 2.
Oh yeah, already 2. Silver goes up, fadeaway shot, throwing Mage into the dirt, and that's a team kill. That was a very, very quick fight. Finally investing their ultimates, and I mean, it got a lot of value, I'll tell you that.
Tons and tons of value indeed. So now you're looking at GG finally getting some more meters onto this lead here, giving themselves a little bit of a buffer should things swing back the other way. They have both sport ultimates to work with, as well as another Earth Shatter here for Oh No Senpai. And again, you know, SCR really is sent reeling right now.
And what an Earth Shatter. Oh No Senpai finally building up to another one, and this time letting it loose as quickly as they can get it. 3 on their backs, 4 dead here for SCR. GG finally on the move.
Yeah, GG with over 100 meters now. They're definitely feeling themselves, and they have the tools to keep it rolling. SCR scrambling a little bit, swapped over to the Rhine, but find some kills.
Yeah, sound barrier down. Bum and Silver are out of this fight, and there's a run. Yeah, okay, we're seeing the Reinhardt duel again. Crunch time for SCR. They switch to the Bastion, or not the Bastion, but the Reinhardt here. So we will see if this will work out like it did on Busan.
Yeah, and both teams have kind of reset the ult bank. Nobody has anything. The closest is going to be Nista with the Earth Shatter, but realistically, right, this is going to be a clean reset. Both teams are going to be able to meet in the middle here thanks to the forward spawns being activated for GG this entire time. And again, it's going to be about Mata probably using the teleporter to get past Nista and sort of leave the Reinhardt on an island to go deal with the rest of SCR.
All right, yeah, building up that Symmetra beam off of the Reinhardt shield. I mean, Oh No Senpai is very, very low. Here's the Kitsune Rush, and getting active off of it, sliding right into that pin there is Happy Yeehaw. Mage cleans up a second here, and 2 for each, a third for Nisi as they finally claim the forward spawns.
They get their own forward spawn, but now they still have another 60 or so meters to go here. And it's not going to be pretty. Now with the swap over to the Mei, we saw how quickly Mata can build up a blizzard with those raw icicles here, and that could be devastating and end to the map here if it's thrown onto the push bot, but now both teams have to stay on this objective, or at the very least, SCR does.
Yeah, but Nisi is out of the way. Pulse Bomb stuck onto Ono Senpai, but Twix receives a swift strikes to the skull there. And it will be a map here for GG. Able to move to match point and Mega. That is scary. If you are SCR, this map is not selected very often by most teams. You came here because more than likely you knew that fact, right? And now you've lost that out. And if this was the ace in the hole, the lack of a Reinhardt ban means that, I mean, you can do it again. You can do that, but it's going to be on a map that more than likely GG is more comfortable on.
Yeah, but also, I mean, just looking forward to the rest of the series. Let's say hypothetically SCR goes into the next map, bans Reinhardt, and you win that map. I mean, great for you. But now you've exhausted the Mei, the Symmetra, and the Reinhardt bans, heading into a potential map 5 that's going to be out of your control, where GG is going to be able to pick where they want to go. I mean, they've been struggling against this Reinhardt pretty much all series long, except for the first map where they were on the Zarya comp, and while it was close, they were able to sort of sort stuff out and make it work with the Zarya. But they've been very shy to go back to it for some reason. I don't know if maybe they just don't feel like it'll work on some of these longer range maps or what have you. But at the end of the day, you got to start looking at what worked in the past for SCR. And so far, the biggest answer has been the Zarya. And, I would say your ball comp because it worked so well on Kings Row, but it kind of got shut down there. There was just answers left, right, and center from the side of GG. And so now, since scrambling, SCR's got to figure something out.
Yeah, I mean, without the Reinhardt ban, you needed to win that map, right? That is absolutely backbreaking because, like you said, the ban could come through still. The Reinhardt will probably be banned. That's, you know, a pretty safe assumption, I would assume. Um, but I can't help but fully agree with you here, Mega. It's going to be so tough headed into a fifth map without any good ban targets, right? Something that will make GG have to sweat a little harder. I mean, that's never a position that you want to be in. They're comfortable. They're going to a map that they want to go to. I mean, you need to, to be honest with you, in a perfect world, you don't ban Reinhardt here, and you win this map anyway. I don't think we're in a perfect world though, Mega. This is going to be very, very difficult through the end of this series here for SCR down to one. We are headed to Circuit Royal, a map where historically Reinhardt has gotten outclassed by a tank like Sigma. But I can imagine that barring the ban, GG just won't care.
Yeah, I mean, GG. It's going to be an interesting one heading into Circuit Royale here because this could potentially be a way to try to sort of pivot with not wanting to do the Reinhardt ban right away, but still sort of forcing it into a map where you don't want to play the Reinhardt. Now, granted, some teams still do prefer to try to run brawl variations here, even though historically this has been a very Sigma poke oriented map. So potentially trying to go about things that way could be the answer that SCR is looking for here. Of your escort maps, it's probably your best option to try to force off of that Rhine style because, again, you can play the range with like a Sigma, throw in a little bit of Hanzo into the mix for some shield break potential as well as just overall pick potential. I think it's a very solid pick here, but we do have to see exactly where these bans go as well, like if the Reinhardt ban ends up getting burned here or not.
All right. So I think we've talked about a potential Reinhardt ban to the point of exhaustion. Let's think about where else that they could go because there's really not much, right? The two things that come to mind here are going to be the Baptiste, which Bum has enjoyed playing quite a lot. On top of that, Wu Young. Wu Young is already out of the question as this was going to be my other selection, a Lucio ban going to come through here for SCR. Going to try and slow down the gameplay. And to be honest with you, I don't hate that because they have GG has been on the Lucio for the entire series, right? And banning out the Baptiste would be fun and cool, but Bum is just going to be more than comfortable to just go back over to the Wu Yang. So a Lucio ban will force G to at least play slower. So I think that is the best thing that they could have gone to here that is not named Reinhardt.
Yeah, and again, so taking out the Lucio is the approach that you want to go for because again, it's going to inhibit the Reinhardt even further on this long range map. So if you want to run any variation of Brawl, not just Reinhardt, it's going to be much slower pace, or you have to bring the Juno into the mix, who is a little bit more vulnerable, potentially not, and the support players are not as comfortable on the Juno pick as well here. So overall, it's a very solid strategy from SCR, but GG, I mean, we've seen it. They could just teleport the Rhine around. They might not even care about speed, if we're being real. Plus, they're going to have Wu Yang back in the mix. I mean, creativity at its
Well,
finest, some might say.
I think it's worth saying that Bum is the one who plays the Wu Young as well as the Baptiste. Happy Yeehaw hasn't been on anything other than Lucio this series, right? Usually the Wu Young comes through as a substitution for the Lucio with that heavy poke potential with usually a Kiriko, right? We've seen Bum play the Kiriko, but that's again Bum, right? Bum has played Kiri, the Baptiste, the Wu Young. Happy Yeehaw has got to show their flexibility off a little bit here. This will be the first time this series we haven't seen them on the Lucio. So this, I genuinely think that barring the Reinhardt, which I think is the right pick to go for, to not ban Reinhardt here, in the event that you do win this map, Lucio is going to put GG in the worst position that SCR could have put them in.
Yeah. And again, it's just a very interesting way to see it all pan out here. But again, the biggest thing to keep in mind as well is right now GGR up that 2-1 right now. They obviously can smell the series victory, and sometimes that can go to people's heads. So keeping calm under pressure is going to be the name of the game for both of these squads here. Um, and now we are just trying to see exactly how this goes as we are getting everything ready to go into map in just a second. Teams are deciding to be cringe and do this thing called swapping sides. Don't know why that is. I think we should make fun of them.
Okay. But we do have some substitutions here for SCR. Fuso Fast coming back in, Aegis coming back in. So, yeah, this is going to be a very, very interesting map. I'm super interested to see how GG adapts to this. Of course, the Freya ban, Freya has been annoying, um, a very good pick for Mage all series, of course. Not going to be in this map here. Twix is the one that is staying in the lineup for the time being. Ornate Circle also staying in. Bjorn and Mage, the starters staying on the bench here for Circuit Royal. So I'm curious to see what the implications are for that for SCR. We've seen Twix be on the Tracer on the Venture. This is definitely going to be a little bit different here. We're going to see potentially that Genji Tracer composition, right? Nisti could be playing Sigma. I don't imagine that we see the Sigma. It's not something that these teams have shown the propensity to play. But yeah, I mean I don't I'm really really interested.
Yeah, we're just sort of in the rambling phase right now as I don't want to be petty, but I'm just going to say a general blanket statement.
Okay.
What side you start on does not matter this much, is all I'm going to say. Um, but hey, if you want to take time typing
There's
essays,
absolutely no context for that.
yeah, don't worry about it. No context is needed. But it's fine. You know what this is time for? I think this is time for show and tell. You should grab one of the figures off the shelf back there,
Okay.
and see what we're working with.
Mm.
Fletcher's looking at the shelf. Currently looking at the shelf behind for the people who are unaware. For a figure to show off for some show and tell moment here, because we have a little bit of downtime. Hang on. A figure has been collected. We have to see what you've brought to the class here today. All right, Fletch, what do you have for the classroom? The
This is
CGL
ball.
classroom.
This is ball.
But it's ball.
It's ball. It's just that's its name.
It's just a ball with a gun.
Polypod ball.
Okay.
I like it. Okay.
Okay.
So Ball says we're going to break for a little bit while we figure out the whack that's going on in the lobby right now. We'll be back eventually, I think, probably. So stick around. All right, welcome back, everybody. After a fight that should not have happened, we have finally come back into the series here. GG up 2-1, headed into map number 4, Circuit Royale. SCR banned out the Lucio, which is going to make GG have to adapt here headed into this map. So Reinhardt will be a little bit more difficult to play, but they do still have that Symmetra, as you brought up earlier, Mega. So we'll have to see how that adaptation does come in for them as we get to see what the characters are going to be. Happy Yeehaw will it'll just be the Juno play here for the speed.
Yeah, it has to be the Juno, right? And this is going to obviously, again, the difference of styles. Uh, for these squads where GG are going to continue to force their Ryan style as best they can, but they're really going to have trouble against this poke. I feel, as long as the poke is played properly here, as long as you're holding the distance and then just sort of waiting, letting your DPS get that damage over time and to sort of remove people from the fight that way. Because again, you have all of this extra damage you're going to be able to take advantage of and do things with. So might as well utilize it to its full potential.
All right, here we go. Map number 4, series point for GG. Nice job with the poke here from SCR so far, but the TP comes through onto the high ground, making that arms reach very, very difficult there for the side of SCR, but he's so fast on the Ash, able to get rid of Bum here early, but oh no, Senpai with the trade, the Fire Strike to take care of Nisti. He's so fast, finds a second pick, but the objective keeps rolling without the Sigma in the fight.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's been very interesting sort of setup here. Like you said, the picks were coming through, but now reinforcements are needed before another King Test can come through. And now that they've closed some of this distance, GG's comp can really start to benefit. They're within range. That being said, they are backing up to retreat for the time being, potentially to stack to get another good symmetric teleporter in, to get people in a position here as, again, SCR, the big thing right now is for them to hold this distance.
There's a TP. Will not connect as the swings start to come through. Oh no, Senpai absolutely jumping the players of SCR here. Twix does end up finding the pick on to Maramara and oh no, Senpai. It's going to be up to Silver to take care of this Pharah as this fight continues to crawl on, and it will just be a disengage here from the stragglers of GG.
Yeah, and so that disengagement comes through. And again, GG, they get those first initial picks, but the poke comp able to weather the storm now with a Gravitic Flux online as well here. Should be able to pick everybody up as oh no, Senpai already missing.
Yeah, Happy Yeehaw trying to find something with this orbital ray. They do trade out though, so that is good. Here's Matamata with the the Tidal Surge came out. The team kill came so fast that nobody could touch in the end, though. So it will be GG just rolling straight for the finish line there.
Yeah, and again, this poke comp needs to play the space a little bit better. They're sort of just waiting for the symmetric teleporter to come on top of them, not even attempting to break it or anything like that. And when they're allowing this distance to be closed, like that's when the poke comp becomes incredibly weaker. The Reinhardt's already on top of you, swinging that hammer. Now you're going to be looking at ultimates for both sides here. A lot of ultimates, in fact, especially looking towards these tanks to try to deliver something.
All right, well, this Wuyong is dead. Aegis and Bum will be traded out there. The Graviton, or the Gravitic Flux, rather, will not find much after that as Mata kills, I believe that was 4 players in that fight. And GG are just absolutely sailing through this map.
Yeah, and again, it's working out for them, right? They do have the Juno for the speed when they need it, but I mean, honestly, they're getting away with a little bit of murder right now. Like that's the nicest way to put it. As the pause comes through, somebody's probably disconnecting. Lovely, lovely. You love to see it. But the SCR, they're not playing the poke comp optimally. Again, you saw a lot of Focus Fire trying to go onto, where they were teleporting from instead of where the teleporter was coming at, like where the teleporter was being placed. So there was a lot of times that realistically that teleporter could have been blown up for to isolate people who got through in this matter. But it seems as though we had a bit of a DC there. It seems as though there was few on the side of SCR now missing, and we get to just twiddle our thumbs.
I've just been here shuffling a stack of Pokemon cards the whole game. just
I mean, hey, listen, you got to keep the hands busy sometimes.
Gives me something to do with my hands,
Got anything fun in those Pokemon cards? You got like a?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I don't.
no,
This is all. This
cool
is
card.
no. This is all just stuff from my pre-releases. I have a reverse hollow Soul Rock.
Oh, there you go.
It's like a mirror. I like the new reverse hollows. How about show and tell here? I've got a Mega Abomasnow. What?
And it's a water type. What?
How about a Mega Camerupt?
I hate the TCG for that. Mega Camerupt. Yeah. Where's the Mega Cacturn at though?
In your brain. In your head.
Listen.
It'll
happen one day.
How about my boy Executor?
That's just a full art Executor kind of chilling.
Yeah, man. It's beautiful. I don't really
honestly, Fletch.
I don't have a lot.
I think you need like a TCG channel. You need to be like one of those opening people on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe. I don't have money for packs though. Packs are so expensive right now.
That's why you create the YouTube channel, because then it funnels revenue into the pack addiction.
No, I don't open packs. I play, bruh. I play the game, bruh.
Mm-hmm. You play the game, yet I don't see you at any regionals. Curious.
You think I can afford to go to regionals?
Listen, I'm just saying.
I'll go to San Antonio.
You'll be at San Antonio. All right, you better be there.
I'll be there.
Will
you be there?
Yeah, I'll pull up just for you. But speaking of pulling up into the lobby, we did just see Few has reconnected. Just going to make sure everything is situated. Everybody is ready to go here. So hopefully you're enjoying these little tangents. Me and Fletch definitely aren't losing our minds at the fact that we're 2 hours into a series and we're still on map 4. That's normal. That's fine. But yeah, it's just a interesting one. We are now in the Reinhardt mirror, as we saw right before the DC occurred. And it's going to be an interesting one, seeing as SCR are playing the Reinhardt, but they don't have a speed of any kind to go with said Reinhardt. So Nisti is going to get left on a bit of an island.
All right, here we go. This overclock should be enough to put some pressure. Oh my goodness, just absolutely ripping through Twix. Aegis taking the shot, the TP up onto the high ground there. And Aegis will be the casualty. We'll see Few try and take care of this, but these sim turrets so annoying. Will end up going down. Nisi does come to save the day though, so they will be able to push GG back.
Pushing them back for the time being. For the first time, it feels like in a while, GG actually have to stop and reset. Which, heading into this next fight, they're going to have the OC. They're going to be close to their orbital ray as well. More than likely going to have it online before the fight really has a chance to break out. Both of those are going to be massive tools at helping them take space around the map wherever they need to go.
Twix just spamming from the high ground. We're going to see the orbital ray come down for the side of Happy Yeehaw. Earth Shatter comes down. Need to see Pasta Few so fast on their backs. The point continues to swiftly move through this area. Aegis is able to get rid of Matamata on the other end of that teleporter. And without Matamata, they will just decide that it's not worth it to fight here. They're just going to back up, wait for their sim to come back.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, listen, you gotta do a little bit of waiting sometimes. SCR, though, more than happy to take more of this time off of the clock here, especially with the bank of ultimates they've been able to stack up everything but the Dragon Blade ready to go here. So if you assault on the ground, you're gonna get met with an Earth Shatter. You want to try to take this poke battle, you're gonna get met with the Amplification Matrix and tons of people shooting through it here. Silver, trying to take a bit of an off angle, though.
Yeah, I mean, Mara will be able to help to take down that Pharah, the usual target for the Symmetra, the Pharah. On the off angle, we're gonna see Happy Yeehaw come in. We're gonna that immortality field is brutal. Nano boost on it to the Baptiste. Silver will not be able to find the pick there as Aegis weathers that storm with the help of the nano boost.
Yeah, and so now the nano boost, like you said, being able to help keep everybody nice and healthy here. Um, GG has definitely been stifled here on this third point. They're looking for answers right now. Their teleporting seems to have been solved and figured out here, as well as SCR has been very measured in their ultimate use, not over investing in any of these fights. Now realizing the rotations coming through the high ground here, GG has some tools to work with, but they're definitely going to be met with the barrage.
Yeah, Twix just able to absolutely rain down that hell. That tidal surge was, a little bit of that extra meterage never hurt anybody, but now they only have a minute left on the clock, and they invested 2 ultimates there, so, starting to get a little tight.
Yeah, GG starting to run out of options here. More than likely going to have to be another high ground rotation, but this time they're going to be caught by potentially either the Dragon Blade or the Amplification Matrix. Really, it's sort of a pick your poison situation when you're rotating to the high ground. Or you could try to just force it down on the objective, but you're just going to leave so many things pre-firing at you.
Well, that anti-help to take down Mata Dragon Blade pulled. Not going to quite be able to find that there as it gets re-sheathed up. 27 seconds on the clock now, and GG will just back out and wait for one final push.
One final push. GG, they have started building towards some ultimates. They're going to have Earth Shatter as long as Oh No Senpai doesn't go down, as well as an Orbital Ray to work with versus just the Shatter from Nisti on the other side of things. Silver potentially being able to get it set up on the high ground as well could be massive here as the overtime starts.
Mata cannot die here. That is absolutely imperative. Earthshatter right into the shield there from Nisti. This Pharah will fall to Silver on the high ground, and with just in the nick of time, GG will be able to make the adaptations and get this point through the end of the map.
All 3 points tapped here. Considering how much time they had going into point C, it seemed logical, but that was a very impressive defense that finally came out for SCR here. But now SCR, to keep themselves alive in this series, have to complete the entire map. Thankfully, since there's no time on the bank and it's escort, you don't have to necessarily worry about time bank. You just have to make sure that you're getting into these extra rounds. And as we just saw, this third point on Circuit Royale is no joke. The defenders have such an advantage with the control of the high ground and things like that, that it's going to be a fortress that SCR is going to have to find a way to break through.
Now, nothing is going to change for the side of GG here, which I'm not surprised about as the defense starts out. Still a good composition for them, very, very clearly. But SCR are hovering something a little bit new here. Nisti going back over to the Winston that we saw on, what map was it? Kings Row, I think. All the way back in map number 2. And, Aegis and Ornate Circle on the Ana Zenyatta. We'll see. It does look like this will be the composition to come out of the spawn doors, and it will. Fuso Fast still on the Genji. They're looking for the dive here. Mata spamming with that alt fire from the Symmetra, taking a lot of damage from the sticky nades. Mata has to drop down, hide behind the car, get the healing from Happy Yeehaw. Now the rest of the team will drop down to try and help out with that problem. The anti-nade on to, I mean, these health bars are not looking good right now for the side of G. G and Twix will come through with the pick. Unfortunately, that turret cannot be blocked by Few so fast, so a trade will ensue. Up to the high ground goes SCR, as the rest of these GG players will wait for them to engage.
Yeah, and waiting to find their opportunity, their moments, if you will, here, SCR. Again, just trying to look to execute a dive as best they can here. But whenever this Winston goes in, you have to realize the backline is very susceptible to getting run down by Oh No Senpai. But massive anti.
Yeah, but not able to follow up on it, unfortunately. The pin comes through. Mata does end up finding a trade, or does end up getting traded there. Few so fast with a nice little heady there. Ono Senpai continues to spam, but right now, as it stands, GG more than happy in this fight.
Yeah, more than happy, more than content.
Especially with that.
Exactly. You get that pick. It's sort of the cherry on top of the cake here. That being said, SCR, they're still kind of holding this high ground, and they're going to be met by the Reinhardt building a shatter.
Well, here's Ono Senpai with the pin in. Maybe a little bit overzealous there with that Discord orb applied. Jake's able to finish that off, but Mata comes in with a pick on the Twix of their own. Jump comes through. We're going to see the ultimate there. Wow, okay. Yeah, the title surge does knock down Nisti in midair, and Nisti does end up going down. So right now, GG, they are looking more than comfortable, even in these really scrappy fights.
They're looking for it indeed. SCR now making more swaps over to the Zarya now. They are going to have these DPS ultimates coming up online, but they do have to contend with the Earth Shatter as well as an Orbital Ray coming out from GG here. The TP in, oh, I thought the Shatter was going to be delivered right then and there.
Antied up. Ono Senpai doesn't want that anti to be, too much, as the Earth Shatter comes out. We'll find the pin there. No Jonak play insight there for Ornate Circle, trying to get in the way of the pin. So now GG, with just a minute left on the clock, looking stalwart on this defense.
Yeah, I mean, this defense has been pretty solid here. SCR has been struggling to try to break through it in any meaningful way here. They do have a Bob to work with, but nothing else really close. Meanwhile, both DPS holds online for GG is going to provide a lot of protection with that sim wall whenever that Bob comes out, but also Silver having the overclock in the back pocket. If this can be saved towards overtime, this is going to make it incredibly dangerous for anyone on SCR to peek into that Sojourn's line of sight.
All right, here we go. Bob invested by Few so fast, and Bob is already so damn low. Gonna be taken out there. Mata popping that photon barrier. Pin comes through, looking to force a bubble. Does not quite get that one done. But the overclock and the, oh my goodness, Silver slamming the door in the face of this series. 4 kills for Silver in the final fight. Not quite able to get the ace, but GG comes through strong in the end. Silver, final nail in the coffin. They take the series. They move to 3-0. SCR loses their first of the season.
Yeah. As both these teams coming into this match 2-0, so somebody had to get their first loss of the season. It seems as though SCR was the ones fated to do just that. GG, a bit of an interesting start there, losing that first map, but being able to rebound after that. Incredibly close throughout the series. I mean, look at these score lines. You had the extra rounds on King's Row, both maps on control, going 100-99 back and forth here. But GG, clearly comfortable on this Reinhardt composition. Not having any worries. They can pilot, edit it anywhere, through any bands, it seems, and doing exactly what they need to do.
Yeah, for a team that plays one composition, they really did kind of show off their flexibility, right? Every single time SCR threw something at them that could have been really, really bad for the composition, right? Obviously, the Reinhardt band never got to come through. Um, SCR, or rather GG, was just able to come up with a way to get through everything. Lucio ban, we'll just go over to the Juno. Symmetra gets banned, we'll just play the May. Everything that SCR tried to throw at them, GG just kind of swatted it away, and they looked great doing it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, like you said, looking great doing it here in GG. Feel like we should learn how to pronounce their name one of these days if one of the players want to hand out a tutorial.
Heldres Hetias, I think, something
Something
like
like that.
that.
Yeah. Shout out to them. They got the great win. They got an amazing win here today in the EU Diamond tier and now get that 3-0 record heading into week 4.
Yeah, beautiful win. Almost certainly have locked up their spot in the mid-season tournament. Incredible job here for GG tonight. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back later tonight with some NA action if y'all want to pop out for that. And if you do, it's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you do, we will see y'all then. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see y'all in the next one.